Hi, my name is Lane Anderson, and gun control is a very popular topic in America today, especially with the recent activities that have gone on this past year and this year that we're in now. And it continues to get more and more popular as time passes, it seems. Many people are very concerned with the guns and how we are doing it. They want to make much more stricter laws and just get rid of guns. And then on the polar opposite, you've got people who think guns are the answer right now and don't want to give up their guns right now. So if you don't know much about the topic and you go out there on the internet, you're going to find many things on both sides that it can be very misleading, very disorienting, and you could be manipulated into thinking something you really don't believe. So I'd like to take this time to present a few facts of why I think gun control is not the answer. One of the most popular um, arguments against gun control is that the Second Amendment allows us to have guns. And it's the right to bear arms. And then the counter argument for that is really that the Second Amendment has limitations, just like the amendment for freedom of religion. If your religion has human sacrificing in it, then the Supreme Court has the ability to come in and make that religion illegal. So that's the argument they use against it. But at the same time, you have to remember that our forefathers who wrote the amendments and when America was declared independent from England, they looked at all the things they hated about being under England rule. And this was the second thing that came, or one of the top things that came up. So you know it had to be important to them, and they must have seen and felt how it was to be under a nation that didn't allow guns, and so obviously they put it in the Constitution for a reason. And I think that it needs to just be more thought about before taking it out so easily. Another popular argument is that no matter what laws there are on guns, criminals are always going to be able to get guns, and then if guns are outlawed, then the good guys won't have guns. This is a pretty valid argument, and there are many ways to argue against it. But at the same time, um, you think about it: if a criminal that has been planning to rob a bank and they've got all the plans, it's perfect, they know what they're going to do, and then they go and they're like, okay, we need guns, and the other guy's like, well, we don't have permits, so we could get in a lot of trouble. We probably shouldn't do it. I mean, that's just not going to happen. And another thing is that if criminals have guns, then the good guys are defenseless. So that argument is pretty cold cut. One interesting thing I found was a girl from Maryland posted a YouTube video that came very viral, got millions of hits, and she's 15 years old now, but she's been shooting guns since she was 8 years old. She strongly believes that gun control is wrong and shouldn't be the answer. So she made this video, and it got incredible feedback. There was a lot of people for it, but I mean, just as many people against it. And one of the craziest things I read was that somebody commented on her video and said that they hope her family and her get shot so that they can be taught a lesson, which is crazy. But she read it and she responded that if a situation was like that and it came up that was going to happen, she would feel much safer and much more prepared with a gun in her hand than it being illegal and not having one. Another thing that is kind of current, the Colorado shooting, and also even the Boston bombing. I know that really wasn't about guns, but in the Colorado shooting, also the Sandy Hook shooting, the shooters went into a gun-free zone, and that's, if you look at shootings like that, that's the pattern. That they're not going to go into a pawn shop where there's plenty of guns or Cabela's or something like that and try to hold it up, because it's just not going to work out. It's just not going to. People are going to be able to defend themselves. So they went to places where it would take 5 minutes, for the police to get there before they have any other threats. And the Boston bombing, both of the men who one died and one in custody. They both had guns, and neither one of them had a correct permit for the gun, which a bunch of people made a big deal about and pointed out that they didn't really care. Obviously, they didn't care to get the permit for the gun. So really, there are tons of arguments out there for and against, and it just depends really on what you really feel. But just make sure you're properly educated and not manipulated, because many websites, articles, people are going to try to manipulate you to come to their side and get as much support as they can. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.